Peter Graham confirms resignation from Kumul Minerals Holdings Limited. A breakthrough in negotiations for Poguera mine. And stakeholders of Woodlock mining project review MOA. Good evening and thanks for joining us for Friday's news. I'm Shamin Poriambe. Yesterday, he was at the negotiating table with the state and Barrick representing Kumul Minerals Holding Limited. Today, he tendered in his resignation as the chairman of KMHL. Peter Graham, who was appointed the chairman of the state-owned entity back in 2016, confirmed his resignation today with EMTV News. However, he serves in the acting managing director's role until November when he departs PNG.
Graham told EMTV News he has outstanding work to complete with Kumul Minerals Holding Limited before he leaves in November. Graham advertised for the position of a managing director today in the papers and says he has to recruit a replacement MD before he leaves. EMTV News inquired about a letter that was circulated widely on social media, purportedly a resignation letter from Peter Graham. While Graham could not clearly indicate if the letter came from him, he did confirm his resignation and said he promised the Prime Minister James Marape when he first took office that he would work for 6 months with Kumul Minerals to complete some important tasks, which he says are almost complete. He therefore said it was time for him to go home, having worked 27 years away from home. He added that he had honored his commitment to the Prime Minister and will work through till November, supporting the state negotiating team to negotiate the Poguera project. He also confirmed that he will help settle the new chairman into this role when one is appointed. Prime Minister James Marape confirmed that he hasn't formally received a letter from Peter Graham yet and said it was unfortunate that the letter has been leaked to the public space. However, he too confirmed that Graham had told him back in June that he would resign in November, but said the letter that's been circulated was taken out of context. He said the former board members occupied different roles in the board of other statutory bodies, and it was fair to bring in other qualified Papua New Guineans to be directors on the KMHL board. Meantime, former Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said it was regrettable that a person like Peter Graham, who has guided Oktedi Mine to a very profitable company for the people of PNG, has resigned. He wished Peter Graham well in his future. Ruth Rungola, National EMTV News.
The government of Papua New Guinea and Barrick New Guinea Limited have finally made a breakthrough in negotiations to restart the Poguera mine. While negotiations are ongoing, it is expected to be concluded in the coming weeks. But one thing is for certain, the state is not compromising on its stand to own majority of the equity in the new joint venture. The state and Barrick agreed in principle for Barrick to retain operatorship over the mine and will phase out at an agreed time.
Following months of court battles between the government and Barrick New Guinea Limited, the parties finally came to a round-the-table discussion yesterday, and the results, according to the Prime Minister, was fruitful in principle as he awaits negotiations to conclude before a final outcome is made known. Agreements reached in principle include a special mining lease remaining with Kumul Minerals Holding Limited, PNG to own majority of equity in the new joint venture, PNG will make no concession on taxes, Barrick to raise capital for startups, something Barrick has committed to, and Barrick to phase out at an agreed time, among others. Marape, in a statement, said he was pleased with the outcome of this meeting and looks forward to seeing the outcomes of further discussions on the economic principles to guide future mining operations. He said the state wants to reopen the mine at the earliest, and the state negotiating team headed by Isaac Lupari, Barrick's team and the Kumul Mineral Holding Limited will advance the negotiations and finalize what will be captured in the final agreement. Barrick CEO Mark Bristow left PNG yesterday afternoon after his meet with the Prime Minister, said he was leaving behind a high-level team to negotiate on behalf of Barrick and will meet again soon with the Prime Minister in the coming weeks once negotiations are completed. Ruth Rongola, National EMTV News.
Various stakeholders of the Woodlock mining project were in Alatau recently to review the project's memorandum of agreement. Agendas concerning land royalties and other development issues were discussed in this meeting. The MOA was last negotiated in 2015.
The stakeholders include the project developer, Landowners Association, Murua LLG, Milne Bay Provincial Government, and the state negotiation team led by Mineral Resources Authority. Issues on the agenda for review include land, royalties, tax credit scheme, special support grants, infrastructure, business development plan, employment and training, and mine closure. MRA Managing Director Jerry Gary says they are focused on negotiating a win-win situation for all stakeholders, and it is consistent with the government's plan to empower resource owners to ensure they get maximum benefits. Over the years, business opportunities are made available by the developer only after the project goes into production. This results in missed opportunities for landowners. To address this, the government, through the Department of Commerce and Industry, has initiated a national content plan. The plan aims to ensure landowners and local businesses are engaged by developers in business spin-offs, beginning from the construction phase of the project, and it will be implemented once it is approved by the National Executive Council. Project developer Geo-Pacific Resources Limited CEO Tim Richards says the company is looking forward to productive negotiations. However, the challenge for stakeholders is the implementation of the MOA once agreed. All stakeholders were challenged to play equal parts to ensure all parties benefits. The Woodlock mining project has a 13-year mine life. It currently has 3 defined gold deposits, which gives a total of 1 million ounces of gold reserves and 1.6 million ounces of gold resources. Rayon Lakingu National, EMTV News.
Government agencies and landowners of the Wafi-Golpu project are set to meet in late next week to discuss matters concerning the deep-sea tailings disposal method. Deputy Prime Minister and Bulolo MP Sam Basil said this will be an opportunity for landowners and the Morobe provincial government to negotiate the possibilities of a deep-sea disposal method or a tailings dam for the Wafi-Golpu project.
They're bringing it forward to. So we all look forward to come here, listen, and I believe that the company or the developer has chosen already the deep sea, including the SEPA, and it's up to us now to come and sit down and make sure that if we got any issues on those, any doubts on how it will affect, we have to challenge it during the negotiation. So I believe that there are many scientists out there that are talking about the issue. I believe that they will come that time and they will discuss the issue and we can find a way forward. But like I said, I do have tailings dam up in Hidden Valley, and I have an issue there with the tailings dam as well. There's none of the dam or the tailings disposal will be clean and good. All of them will have issues, but we choose the best one and we go forward. So for me,
People from 4 villages along the north coast of Medang today gathered in Medang town to discuss ways to educate people on sand mining. The proposal to mine sand on a 50-kilometer stretch of beaches in the Sumbilba LLG has the support of councillors. However, members of the community say they want to know what kind of impacts this project will have. The communities already suffer from the effects of climate change and manage the turtle conservation program, which is being threatened by the project. Founder and outgoing CEO of the CPL group of companies, Sir Mahesh Patel, says you must love PNG to do business in the country. His comments came at the launch of CPL's Supplier Appreciation and Performance Management Program last night.
Having started in 1987 as a pharmaceutical outlet, CPL has grown into one of PNG's most influential and commercially successful organizations. Boasting a workforce of roughly 3,000 people from various nationalities, CPL's focus has been on maintaining a close relationship with all its partners. That partnership extending to various retail outlets nationwide and handling of its complex logistical system. Board Chairman Stan Joyce, when given a brief, said the success in expansion had very much to do with the quality of the brand that CPL represented.
For over 30 years of continuous service in this country. Someone that we all knew as a young Fiji Indian bloke that came into a pharmacy somewhere in Barocco, who has always been dedicated to servicing the customer.
Recently knighted, Sir Mahesh Patel has garnered huge respect in PNG's business and common society.
We're still trying to get used to calling him sir in the office, so please make him feel welcome on stage. Thank you.
Sir Mahesh reminiscing on the initial difficulties that he had faced before watching the company blossom under his tutelage.
36 years I've spent in Papua New Guinea. So this has become my home. And as I quoted in the papers yesterday to say, you know, I'm a true Mangilong Papua New Guinea. So, and the reason I'm here is because I love the place. I love the challenge. I love the people. And that's why I tell people that who travel from overseas that either you love it or move on. Because there's so much the country can offer, so much.
And it's not just on a business front that the now former CEO of CPL is focusing his sights on. With the CPL Foundation A Pet Project, Sir Mahesh is now focusing his energies on giving back to PNG society.
Keep wondering what's on the other side of the fence, you'll never go there. So that's when I decided to say, listen, I want to go and look at the other side of the fence. And lucky enough, I found things which I'm going to enjoy. I mean, the CPL Foundation was set up selfishly for me to carry on doing work out in the community, which is what I enjoy.
The outlook for the company is looking good, according to new CEO Navin Raju.
So at the start of 2020, our company was actually facing an uncomfortable position and business uncertainty in all our brands and geographies and severe challenges threatening our future economic financial performance. Today, with the strategic plan we have, an effective tool to ensure that CPL becomes profitable, financial, robust company with a focus of sustainable growth.
With 8 brands and an opportunity to expand into more locations nationwide, Sir Mahesh and Co. believe reinvesting back into the nation is a prudent decision.
And this is what I want to free myself up with, because it's not a handout mentality. You need to go and immerse yourself, find out. I mean, it's fine to support kids off the street, but then you got a social responsibility to sort of say, are they being looked after? Is there an abuse factor? Is somebody going to exploit them? So unless you dive in, you won't understand.
When we come back, Lay receives funding to fix major roads and Education Department responds to unpaid ancillary staff of Bugandi Secondary School. Those stories and more when we come back. Welcome back to the news. Lay will begin to see major road improvements in its suburbs next year using a portion of the goods and services tax generated in the city. Lay has never directly received GST money, but after a series of negotiations with the Morobe provincial government and the IRC, that money will now be spent where it was made. The monthly payments will be tied to domestic loan funding over the next 5 years so that there is no political interference or misappropriation.
The roads in East Taraka, one of the most populated suburbs in Lay City, are an example of 20 years of government neglect. The roads were allowed to deteriorate so much that residents have almost lost hope of any government intervention.
So mi plus what do mi playa? Mem sa go out as all. Inside them road do mi plus a walk body no sa semis and sa stop osem.
And it's infrastructure like this that will be the focus of the Lay City Authority next year when it starts putting the goods and services tax collected in Lay to use. In July, the IRC, the provincial government and the Lay City Authority signed an agreement that allows Lay to keep up to 20% of the total GST revenue. That's 2 million kina a month, which will be used to rebuild all bad roads in the city. But given past experiences of abuse and political interference, that money will be tied to loan funding, which will then be used to fix all the roads starting next year.
We are now in talks with the banks to tie that GST component into all our roadworks in Leh for the next 5 years, so that no one can play with that money.
The 30 million kina in GST money will also be complemented by separate funding of 100 million kina in next year's budget. About half that money will be spent in Leh for infrastructure development and impact projects. The other half will be used in communities in the Wafi mine impacted districts of Bulolo and Huon.
When you look at big projects like PNG LNG, that in its initial stages, the government has looked after the landowners, including the provinces that are host to the project. We want the same for Morobe, and I believe that the Prime Minister agrees with me.
It is a very beneficial decision for the city, because once a city grows, it creates employment, it makes the whole province look good. Once we make the taxpayers happy, they pay more taxes. The environment is better for them. More people get employed. And that is the sole role of government, to ensure there's good environment for people to live and work in. So
Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Leh.
21 ancillary staff of Bugandi Secondary School in Leh will receive half of their salary that was not paid to them by the school's administration for 29 fortnights. The secondary school principal was directed by the Education Division to pay the staff once the school receives their second payment of government tuition fee subsidy. According to the Education Division, the delay of the GTFS payment to schools is with the Education Department and the Finance Department.
Bugandi Secondary School Administration was directed by the Education Division to pay half the amount of salaries owed to 21 ancillary workers who weren't paid for 29 fortnights. The workers complained to the Education Division during a protest by students on Monday against the school's administration. The workers are still serving the school as maintenance workers, cooks and security guards. Some of them have served the school for almost 30 years.
Starting 2016, I come. All the time. Christmas, when blow nothing in the pay. All the time.
I've instructed the principal, Mr. Gao, to ensure that we have all the ancillary staff there to be paid half of what they supposed to get. So that is an instruction I have issued to Mr. Gao, the principal.
On Monday, the ancillary staff of Bugandi Secondary School in Leh came forward and told the media that they've been struggling to support their families since last year. They weren't paid their salary by the school's administration for 29 fortnights.
There is no board that is taking care of us. They are the very people. They are the very people of this school that are supposed to be taking care of us. Where are they?
They never had a board of governors for the last 4 years, which I was very surprised when I first resumed duties as the provincial education advisor for Morobe this year. And I've already instructed the principal to get that board of governors in place.
Provinces that do not have their own education law, the minister makes appointments. Where there is a provincial education law, the provincial executive council appoints the PEB. PEB is the provincial education board. Then the PEB or provincial education board then appoints the boards of every school. So in this case, the Bugandi Secondary Schools Governing Council or school board is appointment is a responsibility of the Morobe Provincial Education Board.
Bugandi Secondary School Administration will only pay the ancillary staff once they receive the government tuition fee subsidy. According to Morobe's Education Division, all schools in Morobe haven't received their second payment of GTFS. The delay is with the Education and the Finance Department in Port Moresby. Julie Badui, OA, National EMTV News, Leh.
Preparations have begun in schools throughout the country for the national examinations that will be done by the grades 8, 10 and 12 students. Morobe is one of the provinces prepared to begin the grade 10 national exams next week, followed by the grade 12 and grade 8. The provincial exam supervisor, Christopher Raymond, said all school principals and head teachers should be present in their respective schools during the national exams.
230,000 students in the country will be sitting for the national examinations over the next 3 weeks. According to Morbe's education advisor Keith Tangui, the Education Division, with the support of the provincial administration, allocated 1.3 million kina to administer exams in all respective schools in Morbe. Tangui said most of the money would be used for the distribution of exam papers to over 300 primary schools in the province.
For a grade 8, it'll be a difficult task where we have to distribute all the exam papers by chopper. And because Morobe is a very big school and we got 374 primary schools who will be sitting for the exams, and it's going to be a very mammoth task to use chopper, and it's a very expensive exercise in administering the grade 8 exam.
Morbe's Education Division also supported the flexible and open distance education colleges with 40,000 kina to oversee the national exams. Mr. Tangui has called on the students and teachers to be vigilant and not to cheat during the exams. Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra said the exam must depend on how students are being taught in the classroom and how the parents are supporting the students.
No student will be certified, no school will be certified if the school is all caught cheating. And we have done that to one school in Western Highlands last year. The whole school, all grade 10 students, about 400 of them, we didn't certify them.
The grade 10s in the country will begin the national exams next week, followed by the grade 12 and then the grade 8. Morbe's invigilators have undergone an external invigilators workshop on Wednesday, followed by the headmasters and principals conference yesterday. The provincial exam supervisor for Morbe, Christopher Raymond, said all headmasters and principals should be present in schools during the exams.
Every school in Morbe, for in Papua New Guinea, if I can say, during an examination week, all headmasters, all principals are supposed to be in the school. And they must be in the school to get to know what is happening. Because national examination is a very, very important event in the calendar of every academic year.
Julie Badui, OA, National EMTV News, Lay.
And now looking at the NES Fund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2870 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, the kina is buying $0.2795 $0.3890 Australian dollars, €0.2298 and 28.69 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee and cocoa closed lower, copper closed higher, crude oil is trading lower, palm oil closed lower and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading lower, the All Ordinaries is trading lower. World Food Day is celebrated on October 16. Today's activities, including awareness on food and nutrition, was held in Port Moresby. Details when we come back. Welcome back to the news. The Department of Agriculture and Livestock, in partnership with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and other sector partners, hosted an awareness program at Gordon's Market today. This was part of celebrating World Food Day for this year. Members of the general public were provided with the opportunity to get information on various topics relating to food and nutrition at the stalls that were set up, as well as through speakers from different organizations.
World Food Day celebration in NCD today was different to yesteryears, with the event hosted at Gordon's Market in general awareness fashion compared to a lot of formal speeches and official procedures in the past.
So we decided to just do an awareness that this is World Food Day. People need to be reminded of the importance of food. And the people along the value chain that bring food to the table, from the garden to the table, we want to recognize them. Our food heroes who have been here working tirelessly to make food available in the city. Like the market area, we decided to do it here because that's where all the food buying and selling is.
In a year that has been significantly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, food supply has definitely been a concern for many. Some have had job losses, which has affected income and food sustenance in particular families. And as people adapt to the new normal and return to normalcy gradually, markets and shops have opened up again, enabling people to access food sources on a regular basis.
Well, this year's World Food Day, we want to come here, do an awareness with them so that they also feel important and their important contribution must be also acknowledged. That's the purpose of us coming here, to do an awareness at the market with the vendors and also the people who are coming to buy at the market as well, and also the youths, also they support the mothers, the carriers I mean.
According to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, over 2 billion people around the world do not have access to safe, nutritious and sufficient food.
World Food Day is basically the day in which we celebrate not only World Food Day, but it's the day that FAO was founded back in 1945, shortly after World War II. So this year is quite special because we are celebrating 75 years of FAO existence under the UN banner. So our representation here is basically to inform and educate people about the work we do in country.
With agriculture often been labelled as the backbone of PNG's economy, given the strong background the country has in relation to the sector, World Food Day also enables the country to recognize the agriculture sector. This has also been evident this year that when the COVID-19 pandemic hit PNG and lockdown restrictions affected livelihoods, many people, particularly in rural settings, turned back to their land for sustenance. Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
Up to 7,000 farmers in the Highlands will benefit from a partnership signed between the Fresh Produce Development Authority and Bismarck Maritime to have their produce shipped to markets. Fresh Produce CEO Mark Waremu said there is a lot of garden produce wasted because farmers aren't able to send them to the markets. The partnership between the FPDA and Bismarck Maritime will help farmers as well as FPDA.
A lot of the fresh fruits and vegetables grown in the Highlands are sent to markets in Lae, Port Moresby and Madang. But not every farmer gets to send their produce to these markets because it's costly. According to Fresh Produce Development Agency CEO Mark Warinu, much of the produce is wasted because the farmers cannot sell.
When we see that there is no support in between in terms of the logistics and supply chain, if you like, farmers, there's no incentive for them. And so you would see a lot of wastage in the farm fields and in the communities.
To address this, the Fresh Produce Development Agency entered a partnership with Bismarck Maritime to assist with the consistent supplying of fresh produce to the markets. The Memorandum of Understanding, which was recently signed, will also aid in collecting data from farmers and the produce transported.
It's very important for us to work together, how much produce is coming in, how much is going out, how much wastage, and where the final market end is, how much is being picked up by the consumers. All of these are very, very important information.
We're getting it from the source to the table. And that's our job, and I'm very happy that the government has got faith in us, and we're all going to work in here together, and we're going to have success.
This partnership comes months after an agreement was signed between the government and the shipping company to provide freight subsidy for farmers. They are targeting up to 7,000 farmer households from the Highlands in this agreement. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Lae.
Truka Sports is next. Kilawani is at the sports desk.
Thank you, Shaman. I will have some footy updates on the Intercity Cup competition. Join me after the break.
Truka Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. An appeal has been given out to supporters of both the Hela Wigmen and the Lay Snakes Tigers to not instigate violence in the grand final on Saturday. The message was given by Hela Wigmen chairman Andy Hetra and Snakes Tigers franchise manager Joe Kramer.
The appeal for us is for everyone to come and enjoy the game on Sunday without violence, without intimidation, without threat, but for all to come. We encourage the mothers, the girls. Rugby league should be a family game.
We don't want violence. I've got young girls who are going to come to watch. I don't want them to be intimidated.
Yes.
My wife is a rugby league lover. She's from Manus, but soccer mate, but she loves rugby league. So let's tell our sponsors, our supporters, and people, you know, the media, you got a job, especially emphasize against violence.
And a two-day coaching and training clinic run by the PNG LNG Kumul's coach Michael Marum was offered to the men's and women's teams participating in the Como Rugby Football League Associations on 29th September to 1st of October. The coaching and training clinic was made possible with the support of ExxonMobil PNG Limited.
A two-day coaching and training clinic was run by the PNG LNG Kumul's coach, Michael Marum. It was offered to the men's and women's teams participating in the Como Rugby Football League on the 29th of September to the 1st of October. The coaching and training clinic was made possible with the support of ExxonMobil PNG Limited. ExxonMobil PNG Limited, the operator of the PNG LNG project, is the proud sponsor of the PNG LNG Kumuls since 2013. The PNG RFL team that flew with coach Michael Marum to assist with the training and coaching sessions were assistant head trainer Solomon Kuluniasi and PNG Kumuls player Enoch Maki. Coach Michael Marum was proud of the participants. He noted that the poor weather conditions did not stop the young men and women from turning up to the newly refurbished Como Sports Field to undergo the coaching session. Marum added that female participants in the coaching course were great ambassadors for gender equality, something that was a welcoming sight. KRFLA Vice President John Karipe expressed his gratitude to ExxonMobil PNG for facilitating the visit by the PNG RFL. Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
And Trukai Sports will be back with more sport in action after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Charlie Wabo has taken the top award for coaching in his maiden year of coaching in the Intercity Cup competition. Wabo was given the Coach of the Year award in the inaugural Digicel Cup Awards last night. Watson Bowes was the Player of the Year and Kimbe Cutters were given the Team of the Year.
Charlie Wabo, the mentor and coach behind the Hela Wigmen for the 2020 season, was recognized yesterday in the inaugural Digicel Cup Awards night for his mentorship in taking his team to the grand final this season. Wabo, who is a former PNG Kumul, had a decorated Intercity Cup career as well, winning 5 out of 7 grand finals in his career in 4 different clubs, adding to his rugby league resume a Coach of the Year award.
Me first play here, me come in and mix him. It's like Coach of the Year award. Me almost. The boys that all perform well, kind of someone putting me through inside. Me teams award. Thank you. Okay.
But Wabo, humble as he is, didn't think he was good enough for the award.
Award that mix him, me no thing. But mix him award. This is kind of award, but me surprised with him. Me almost.
The other notable award also in the night was the Player of the Year award given to Watson Bowes, who also received the Halfback of the Year.
Because I know definitely I'm award for me, but at least the next time I'll give no young Mangila encourage him all play more. But I accept it. Na pa mi carry go back and Laura Ball na. Yeah, it's new written by who must this award. Thank you.
In the category of the Team of the Year, the Kimbe Cutters received that award for the 2020 season. Present to get the award was Loy Bakani, the current governor of the Bank of Papua New Guinea, a West New Britain man who is also part of the club.
Big reason why we got this award, because in a second year running, and we got into 7th place. We missed out 1 point to get into the top 6. We were aiming, we had a targeted placing of 6th place, but we miss him out and we come 7. So, but we'll do much better next year.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
19-year-old Judah Rimbo is the Rookie of the Year in the Intercity Cup competition. The young playmaker for the Hello Wigman was excited with the award, saying it was a reward for his efforts.
Judah Rimbo was ecstatic yesterday after his Rookie of the Year award for his debut season in the Digicel Cup competition in the inaugural awards night. Rimbo had it tough at times this year, but stuck to his game ever since debuting in the number 6 jersey for the Wigmen in round 1.
And at by yesterday, COVID to make in me best struggle, bas video no got me stop laus but me give best me na me lo come training go na me make it through in jello 22 men squad blow Crotonella Wigmen. Time coach give me first by game on them, play on them look. Kata say me give best me na me consistent play lap come na. Now me play grand final me Yamama straight look see my award on them Yamama straight.
He was scouted by current coach Charlie Wabo in the NCD Governors Cup, and under his mentorship, the 19-year-old has flourished in his style of play.
Good man straight, I'm just throwing him all. Yan ball mangi come now with over the Yan ball mangi dominate him. Wigmen em true lem sol. One sending him sa todoglon em sa karike straight na. Bibla kim effort lombla da solo. Emba budim bla team.
Wabo had nothing but praise for the youngster, adding that he saw great potential in him and with his guidance has seen improvement in his game.
Judah Rimbo me look him long time and play Governors Cup na me look him also got big talent inside long potential, so me bring him come over na like as experience me share him experience one time na me go through long play one time individual one-on-one coaching kind of sense or something inside long just come out. So
the 19-year-old was a student at Badihagwa High School here in Port Moresby, but withdrew for personal reasons last year. But he hopes he can continue to complete his grade 11 and 12, but he is focused also to make his dreams come true in the sport of rugby league.
Next step lo me work hard straight lo me la go injal anta se em dream logo da man logo injal anta se so me next step lo me tini logo injal anta straight oxy me em training em me ba gimbes lo me straight.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
And that story ends Trukai Sports. The weather details coming up next. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, Port Moresby cloudy with possible rain showers. Daru mostly fine, Kerema partly cloudy with a few showers, Alotau partly cloudy with a few shower or two, and Popondetta a few showers then cloudy. In Momase, Lay, occasional rain showers and drizzles. Medang partly cloudy with evening showers or drizzles. Wewak chances of thundery rain showers then cloudy. And Vanimo, occasional rain shower and possible thunderstorms. In the Niugini Islands, Loringau partly cloudy with a shower or two. Keveng and Buka mostly fine. Kokopo and Rabaul mostly fine, partly cloudy, and Kimbe partly cloudy with chances of thundery showers. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen partly cloudy with a shower or two, Goroka and Kundiawa a few showers or drizzles and cloudy, Mendi and Wabeg occasional rain showers.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Friday the 16th of October 2020. Have a safe weekend, a pleasant viewing. Good night.